All right, everyone. Welcome to the 4 secrets to buying a profitable franchise. I'm excited to dive into this tonight or whenever you're watching, because this is probably the most important part of buying a franchise that I've identified and learned. There's 4 specific components to it. And if you want to get it right, if you want to make sure you buy the right franchise or just protect yourself and reduce your risk, then this is the formula that you'll want to use. So I'm going to keep it as simple as I can. We're going to keep it short and sweet today. If you're joining us live, let me know what city and state you're coming from. And if you're watching the replay, drop me a note just letting me know that you're watching the replay. And as we dive into this, if you're getting value and this is helpful for you, particularly if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, whatever social media platform, if you just click the like button, that'll be helpful to show it to more people and acknowledge that, hey, this was valuable. I want you to do more stuff like this. With that said, let's jump in. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go over these 4 secrets for you. And for those of you just joining, this is the core of it. If you want to make the right decision of buying franchise, protect yourself, reduce risk, avoid buying the wrong one, this formula is how you do it. This will be a snippet out of what we provide to our clients. We lead with education. The more you know the details, how to do due diligence, etc., then the more you're equipped to make the right decision. Really, I just found out there was someone who had spoken to someone on our team. I think it was about a year ago now, and they had inquired about working with us, and for whatever reason, that person decided not to. I don't know the exact reason because I hadn't met with them. And someone on our team just got an email recently from them saying they wound up going on their own, buying a franchise, and it's not going well, and they need to try to offload it, and they're going to lose money, and it's just a bad situation overall. So this stuff's super important. We actually slow people down in the buying process just to be like, hey, you got to make sure you do these things first and validate it, and then you can buy. And the way that I learned, so we're going to cover here, let me share my screen. Here's what we're going to cover. And some of you may or may not be familiar, but it's called my profitable franchise formula. There's 4 specific components. I'm going to walk you through it, and just the reasoning behind it, etc. But the way that I learned this was from going through our process, buying our franchise. Number one, realizing, oh man, we bought a franchise that has like a lower profit margin than many other businesses. I didn't know that before I signed my agreement. So it's like, ooh, how would I have avoided that? So that's included in here on how to do that. Then it turns out, oh, bought another location in a completely different market, in a completely different state. Oh crap, turns out this does not perform as well or have the same response in this market than it does in this other one. So how can you find those things out before you buy? You get to learn from my mistakes here. So let's dive in. So the number one thing that you need first in a franchise, we're going to cover the 4 things, is belief, right? So you got to choose a business that you 100% believe in. That may sound really simple, but what happens is that, you know, people wind up looking for franchises on their own, talking to some franchise brokers and consultants, and sometimes just looking at random ass franchises, and that you may really have no sort of interest at all in, but for whatever reason you're looking at this franchise. Maybe you think you can just make a lot of money from it, maybe you think it's going to be easy, etc. You have to choose a business that you have a belief in and not necessarily a passion. So you want to choose a brand that you believe in, the product or service, even if you choose the business because that's where your skill set is from your professional background. As an example, I just had lunch today with a guy who's an entrepreneur, runs a successful brokerage business, helping people buy apartment buildings. He's talking about, man, I was looking at an Orange Theory, and I'm like, that makes no sense. Why would you buy an Orange Theory? I'm like, what is your network? He said, I know a bunch of different apartment building owners, very high net worth people, etc. Like, so you would want to make a list of all the services that people that own apartments. What do they need? What are the services they need? What has recurring revenue? So we talked through that. And so one of the easiest places to start is in an area that you have some knowledge already. You don't have to do it that way. But as long as you feel good about the product or service, that's all that matters. Okay. Just remember that owning a franchise could just be your start into your entrepreneurial world. So the priority is to get free, get profitable, and get free. You don't need a sexy business. Like, it doesn't have to be some glamorous thing that you're super passionate about and you really love. You want to open a health business because you love going to the gym and working out. I know. Trust me, I know the mindset. But would you rather do a business that you really love it and you're so passionate about, or one that just makes as much money as possible and contributes to the quality of your life? Get free first, right? Sometimes the most profitable opportunities are the ones that you may feel the least passion about. As long as you believe in the product or service. I think I have an example here in a second. Yeah, passion projects don't always pay the bills. So focus less on passion and more on belief. Belief leads to passion, but passion doesn't lead to beliefs in the long term. As an example, I love going to the gym. I love running Spartan races, etc. Like, that can change. There was a point where I was playing golf a lot. I was super passionate about that. If I would have went out and bought a golf franchise, well, I don't really play golf anymore. We have kids. I'm busy. We have a businesses. So I like the passion for golf has kind of gone away. But, like, as an example, if we were to open up a daycare, because I believe that kids need proper care, education, and it's lacking in our community, like, whether I have young kids or not, like, that's that need that needs to be filled that I believe in overall. So, warning, do not choose a business only because you can think you can make a lot of money. That's a surefire way to get in trouble, really, because business is hard. And there's a possibility that you have to go through a lot of adversity before a lot of money comes. And so you got to be able to push through that adversity. This is when I see people starting to give up, right? They chose a business because it was sexy. Someone kind of sold them on it. And then turns out they need to ditch it. So that's a recipe for disaster. And choose a business that you feel proud to own because you're solving a problem or providing a really great product or service. I recently did a live stream, I think last Thursday, where I talked about how to make your first $1 million as an entrepreneur. And one of the things I shared was that most people think about business the wrong way. It's like, okay, how can I go out there and supplement my income? How can I go out there and make X number of dollars to replace my income or whatever it is? There's actually one question that you ask yourself that will actually ironically put you in the position to be more successful, which is just asking yourself, what problem can I solve? Owning a business is just all about solving a problem. So if you just identify, hey, where's the opportunity to solve a problem in my market, in my geographic area, or what's a problem that I'd be excited to start, then boom. That was the approach that we took starting a juice bar business. There wasn't one nearby. We had to go to multiple exits. So it was like, oh, that's a problem. All right. The profitable franchise formula is the key. No matter how great a franchise sounds, bring it back to the profitable franchise formula. We're going to go into the next 3 ones right now. By the way, if you're getting value out of this video, just press that little like button, completely free, doesn't cost you anything. Really helps the video get more exposure. Thank you. And by the way, let's see. What do we want to offer? Something that's freebie. Oh, well, hey, for all of you, ticker, here we go. We have this new thing that's incredible. It's called our Franchise Buyers Academy. So if you want to know exactly how to own a money-making franchise, narrow down your search and process, and just everything you need to know about owning a franchise, go check it out. franchiseempire.com/FBA. It's epic. Back to this. The second thing you need in the profitable franchise formula is number 2, you need to ensure that the business aligns with your skill set. So does the primary role of the owner match your skill sets? There are some franchise businesses where like the primary role of the owner is you need to be great at sales, connecting with people, and networking. So if you're an engineer or if you're someone who's much more analytical and introverted, the business could be great. It could be really proven and everything checks out, but it just may not be the best fit for you based on the skill set gap. And I see this happen often where, super analytical people get involved in very sales focused businesses and they're not able to thrive because they chose they're on the wrong seat. You know that phrase, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, right? So like put a fish in water, it's going to thrive. A fish isn't going to climb a tree. So we want to make sure, hey, if you're a fish, what business is your water? And let's stay away from the trees. That was like sounded like a really goofy analogy, but hopefully you get it. The other way you can solve this problem is you hire your opposite as your manager and as your first person in your business, or you have that as a business partner. So if you're super analytical, do not partner with someone who's also super analytical. You want the opposite, right? So if you're really great at sales, you want a partner or your main hire to be someone who's really good at operations, okay? But it's got to match your skill set. So this comes from something that we provide for our clients. So ignore the week one. But you got to ask yourself these questions. Hey, what does a day in the life look like? You need to understand that. What does a day in life of the owner look like? Can you see yourself owning this business? And you're going to get answers to this with the calls from franchisor, but the real answers are going to come from franchisee validation. By the way, on that side of it, on like what does a typical day look like? Do we have any questions out there? I just want to pause for a second. Let me know if you have it. Drop me any questions that you may have because we're almost done here. All right. The third thing you need in the profitable franchise formula. Remember, there were three things, right? Three different things that you needed. Four. I'm sorry. It's a long day. I've been talking all day. So we already covered belief. You have to have a strong belief in the business. Number two, skill sets, right? The business has to match your skill sets as the primary role of the owner, or you need to hire that skill set out to make sure you're covered for it. Number three is demand. So guys, the way that I learned this again was, so we opened up a brand new location in California for like month 1 and 2, just gangbusters. Really, the business took off right away. We were profitable in less than 2 months. It was so exciting, amazing. But there was a ton of demand because the competitor was 5 miles away, and then the other one was about a little bit less than 5 miles away, but you had to go on the highway and go 2 exits down. And so, ta-da, like we knew in that micro area of the exit of where we lived, that meant there was demand for juice and smoothie place, right? But when we moved to Florida and bought our second location as a resale, we bought a location that, number one, had 4 other competitors within a 1-mile radius. So store number 1, 0 competitors in 5 miles. Store number 2, 4 competitors within 1 mile. It was like between 1 and 1.5 miles. So made a huge difference. That location was much harder to open and operate. So you've got to validate the local demand. And then also there was no brand awareness because in the Florida market, no one really knew the brand, the store. It had started out in California. It had like 50, 60 locations there. In Florida, it was like, who's Robex? Like, I don't know who that is. Like Tropical Smoothie was the player out there and some other places. So that had a significant impact. So you got to validate local demand and competition, right? This is key. I think I just said that. Oh, sometimes I forget what I put in this stuff. We already just talked through all this. Yeah, that store I think is doing well over 750 now after I sold it. Doing well. So again, yeah, 4 to 5 competitors within a 5-mile radius. It was actually short. It was 4 to 5 competitors within like 1.5 mile radius. So competition does matter, ladies and gentlemen. Only to a degree, though, right? Like assuming if you have something innovative and the other competitors suck and like people complain and don't like going there, that's an opportunity to come in and crush your competition. So with that said, what you want to do is you want to, when you're looking at a brand, you want to make a list of all the competitors within a 5 to 10 mile radius and check into it. Hey, how far are they serving specific neighborhoods? Go buy the products, mystery shop them, go ask questions in the business. What's your slowest time of the day? Note their prices, etc. Call them to see how you can get an appointment to gauge how busy they are. These are just some little tidbits. Like when we work with our clients, we provide much more detail and kind of handholding on exactly what to do to get through validation. But these are just some of the boxes that you need to check off when you're looking at franchises. You have to assess market demand. I don't care how great a franchise is doing all over the country. You've got to make sure that the demand is there in your area, right? Check Google, Yelp reviews. Like, just there's a lot of ways to scope it out. Again, we go in a lot more detail. I'm just keeping it pretty high level today. And if you're just joining us, you should check out franchiseempire.com/FBA. Hold on. I'm gonna drop it so that it's an easy link for you guys. Oh, what just happened there? Is that not working? Okay. Okay. Let's see if this works. I got you. Thanks for staying with me. Okay, here we go. We're good. We're good, ladies and gentlemen. We're good. That way it's clickable. You don't have to type it in. Nice and easy. Okay. Profit potential. So you'll want to get an idea of how much money you may be able to make with the business. Some of you are like, no shit, that's pretty obvious, Tarek. Pardon my French. But believe it or not, when we bought our franchise and signed our agreement back in 2015, I had no idea how to assess the profit potential of a franchise. I was stumbling through franchisee validation, scared to ask people how much money they were making, not knowing how to approach asking questions, just winging it, which is just a terrible, terrible way to go about making one of the biggest investments of your life. It's like a recipe for disaster. I also had no idea how to read an item 19, and an item 19, if you don't know, is the part in the franchise disclosure document where they can the franchisor can list how much money is being made. I don't even remember if there was an item 19. Some franchisors don't even disclose. So I didn't know how to assess that. Guys, it was a mess. So you get to learn from my mistakes. So you'll never have certainty or guarantee around how much money you'll make. You just simply won't know until you start. But you can have a strong idea through three key things, ladies and gentlemen. Number one is the item 19 in the FDD, right? So you got to look at the item 19. You got to see how much, and you got to understand the nuances. There's going to be asterisks in there. There's going to be things telling you, okay, hey, these are for franchisees open 12 months, for between 12 to 24 months, or it's going to say this is the top quartile, this is the bottom quartile. They all list it in a different way, which makes it really confusing for you as the individual buying the franchise, but they're, essentially presenting the information as in an attractive way as they can. So, which is great if you're trying to sell franchises, but for you as the franchise buyer to protect yourself and reduce your risk, you've got to be able to interpret what's in the FDD. So, like, one of the things we do is we go through the FDD with clients. Like we walk through like the item 19 and like making sure that they understand it. Make sure you understand what you're looking at, because then what you'll want to do is whatever you saw in the item 19, you'll want to use that and the combination of number 3 to create a pro forma. Basically, you have to put together financial projections for the business. I repeat, You have to put together financial projections for the business. Some franchisors will provide you a blank pro forma or a pre-filled pro forma based on what's in the item 19. Some don't. And again, a pro forma is just a spreadsheet that gives a very detailed way to project how much money you can make, what's the potential profitability, etc. If you've never seen one, I can tell you from experience, this is another mistake I made. I had no idea what a pro forma was when we signed our franchise agreement. I didn't complete a pro forma. We signed our franchise agreement. We got our onboarding email. Welcome. You're now a franchisee. Money's been paid. And then it's like, hey, here's an email. Fill these things out. It's like, I immediately called the person I was working with the franchisor, freaking out. I'm like, what is this thing? It was this crazy spreadsheet, super detailed, looked like Chinese to me. And I was a financial guy. I had no idea how to complete it. So it doesn't need to be that complicated. That's one of the things we walk our clients through, how to create a pro forma at a high level. But this is how this is how you take emotions out of it when you're buying a franchise. Like, this is a key thing. This is how you take emotions out of it and you're able to just see the numbers. Like what, and you can play with different scenarios. Oh, if I do this, if we had an average customer ticket of, X $100 instead of $80, what would that do to our profitability? If we hired this extra person, what would that do? And you're able to play out the projections. It's super key. You cannot buy a franchise without running estimated financial projections. You see how adamant I am about this. And the way that you'll get some of the intel you need is through franchisee validation calls. That's number 3. You have to talk to at least 5 to 10 franchisees. It is required. You must. If you do not talk to 5 to 10 franchisees, you can make a huge mistake that you might regret. Talking to 5 to 10 franchisees will give you the confidence you need. And if after talking to 5 to 10, you still feel wishy-washy, then you need to talk to more. We've had clients who have talked to 25, 30 people in a franchise brand because they were buying 3, 4 territories at a time. They were going all in from the beginning. They were pumped, but they were like, I'm doing my homework. You don't necessarily need to do that, but I have all sorts of tips on how we teach our clients, like the nitty gritty of how to do due diligence. So if you want to understand kind of the high level overall of just franchising and the key things that you need to know, those are some of the things we put in our Franchise Buyers Academy. When you go check that out, again, the link is, the domain is at the bottom, and I dropped the link. It looked like it didn't update in YouTube. Yeah, some destinations won't get comments. I'll go and pin it to the comment. All right, so that's profit potential. And by the way, for those of you who are watching the replay, let me know that you're watching the replay, and then drop any questions that you have as well. So that was it. Oh, let's see. We hit them all. So let me go back to this in a second. So we hit them all. We talked about belief, skill sets, demand, and profit potential. Those are the 4 secrets to buying a profitable franchise. And if you really do your homework, really do your due diligence, then you can make that happen. For those of you who are like, okay, this is great, but like, how do I do it? How do I implement it? Then, and you want more specifics, you can go to franchiseempire.com. Let's see. And like, for those of you who are like pretty serious about buying a franchise, where are we? Can you see? Where did I go? I'm sharing the wrong screen. Stop. Present. Share. Window. Boom. So you can go to franchiseempire.com, and then there's just a basic blue button there. Schedule a free 15-minute call, and then we can just point you in the right direction, see how we can help with either if you need help finding a franchise or vetting a franchise. Or turns out we have a lot of franchisees that follow us and want help. So, or if you want help growing your franchise. Thank you for joining us. Hit the like button before you leave on social media. It'll help a ton. And let me know that you got value, and drop any comments on other videos that you want to see or other topics. I can always use ideas. I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye. Bye.